As I look back about the news of the consolidation, I wasn't overly surprised because I completely believed that it was inevitable and it was something we had to do.
And from my perspective, it was something that absolutely had to happen. It made so much sense to me, coming from a state that had not been involved in any of the organizations previously, that this needed to happen. It was something that was going to benefit not only my jurisdiction, but indeed all the states and jurisdictions of the country. So it made a lot of sense.
I don't know if I was always sure that it was going to happen. When we started out, there was 4 entities, and then it ended up being 3, so that always raised some concerns. I was fortunate that we had the right people kind of pushing the issue forward, and it did occur back in, 2003? It was a good experience, great experience. Matter of fact, I was there when all the formalities happened and the papers got signed, and I don't know if I got a pin or not, but I tried to. It's a great event because I think it's something that we've all benefited from.
I was supportive of it. I was the last president of Boca at the time, and it was the right thing to do. I still feel that way 10 years later, that this was the right thing. Having 3 model code groups, 3 different parts of the country, just wasn't customer friendly. It wasn't in the best interest of the industry.
When we voted for consolidation, straws were drawn to decide who would be the officers in the future ICC. And the presidential straw was drawn by Boca, and that was Paul Myers, who came from Cincinnati. I was elected as the ICBO representative as vice president, and Nick D'Andrea was our secretary-treasurer. And we had just some personal tragedies occur. We lost Bob Fowler, who from the West was really our guiding light. He was killed in an automobile accident. Right on the heels of that was 9/11. Not much after that, 6 months later, we had, shortly after 9/11, we had selected Bill Tangy to be our first CEO, and everyone had so much faith in Bill. And tragically, he was taken only 6 months later by cancer.
My initial reaction to the consolidation was that we had been able to pull the 3 organizations together, and that we were starting on a path that was going to literally change the world as we knew it, with codes and standards for the construction industry in the United States.
It wasn't easy because you were mixing the cultures from the southeastern United States to the west, the Midwest, the Northwest, the West. So it was a lot of cultures. It was a time that each of us all of us had pride in each one of our model code organizations, and so to mix those organizations into one and come up with one organization was really hard.
The 2 greatest accomplishments that come to my mind are completion of the consolidation of the International Code Council, which then led to the completion of the ICC family of codes, which is the nation's first consistent and coordinated set of model codes.
Eventually, we all sat down and we all had those aha moments when we realized that at the end of the day, we were all just out to do the same thing, and that was to do our jobs and be the best code officials we could be, and produce the best codes that we could do, and provide the best public safety in the built environment for the public. But I think that was one of the biggest challenges, was finally just getting everybody to reach that aha moment when they realized that there was nobody out to get anybody. We were all in this for the same thing, and that was for the public safety.
That first 2 years, that board was just amazing, working through problems, coming together, dropping all of our regional prejudices, and just working for the good of the whole. And Paul Myers, who was the first president, has been forgotten a little bit, but that man's leadership initially was just inspirational. And I think we should not forget Paul Myers, who was our first president.
Initial reaction to the news of the consolidation was that it was a really good thing to do. Over the years, probably a good 10 years prior to the actual consolidation, the 3 model code groups and their leaderships were on a path towards that consolidation. At that time, we were talking about things like the single code format.
But the groups understood that we had to put something together to make it work. We all understood that we were not strong enough by ourselves, that it took 3 groups to make it work. And that, to me, was the biggest, and that was the biggest move that made those organizations become one.
One of those situations where I think we've all benefited because we're all able to kind of draw from everybody's strengths. And if we have any weaknesses, minimize that just because the players that are playing in the process, whether it's industry or whether it's the code enforcement individuals.
ICC has become a much larger family since we consolidated, and we have taken into our association many varied disciplines. We have building officials, we have fire officials, architects, engineers, we have plumbing and mechanical and fuel gas officials, we have sustainability experts, we have energy experts. We are literally bringing the entire industry into one association.
If we had the consolidation to do all over again, looking back, I'd still do it. Undoubtedly, there were some problems. It raised concerns on the part of our members. It created change, but the world's all about change. Nothing stands static. So if the question is, would I do it again, or would I recommend other associations do it if they were in a similar situation, the answer is yes.
The federal government was actively intervening. A number of us went to the Hill, talked to the Congress, and paraphrasing what they had to say, but nearly a uniform answer, was that we're in the business of writing law, and we're going to do that coast to coast, border to border. Can you guarantee that? Well, obviously we couldn't guarantee that as 3 model code groups, so that really precipitated us to get on the path.
I think the biggest accomplishment to me is to have a set of code books that are a set of model codes that are integrated with each other. They all speak to each other. The plumbing code doesn't say something different than the building code. They reference each other. It's much easier to negotiate through codes now than it used to be.
One of the things that we really take a look at is how many communities are actually enforcing the codes, because back in the early days there was a real challenge to get communities to adopt codes. I think that's been really measured over the last several years, and that we now see greater impact in terms of codes that are adopted across the country. It also really has made sure that industry has the ability to market product across many different communities and across states. So it's consolidated a lot of the impact in terms of material development and actually design parameters for buildings.
On a personal level, the members have come to realize and appreciate members of the other legacy organizations from all parts of the country, and realize that we are all code officials.
I've had the opportunity to expand my relationships with code officials all over the country that I would have never been able to have that opportunity, most likely, had the legacy organizations continued on in the manner that we had all these years leading up to the consolidation.
It's really been a positive experience for me. I grew immensely as a member of the board of directors and as an officer in the ICC, and that transferred directly to my job at home. In addition, the contacts I made across the code enforcement world really helped my jurisdiction when we had unique problems. I had a contact person and a resource. Anything from a FEMA declaration to a unique code problem.
There was just a lot of hurdles along the way. Just no one ever envisioned that it would be like that. And I think that, I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of mergers and consolidations fail. And I think it's really a testament to ICC that here we are 10 years later and this one hasn't failed. You know, we were able to successfully consolidate 3 model code groups. And there was a lot of challenges, but you know, the membership, the boards at the time, the staff, were all up for it and made it work.
Well, the members of the International Code Council that I've spoken with, along with our industry partners and stakeholders, have expressed a great degree of pleasure and satisfaction with the progress that we've made at ICC over the past 10 years. We'll now be able to take that progress and build on it to address the future needs of our members and our stakeholders and help ICC achieve our overall mission.
To me, the advice that I would say for ICC is to continue to improve the communications with the chapters.
No doubt it's been a success. The ICC has put code enforcement on the map. People now come to us more than ever in the past. They know that if it's a code that affects the built environment, they know that ICC is the place to come, and we are now being sought out more and more.
I can go anywhere throughout the United States and even in other countries where our codes are adopted or at least used and see the improvements, see people looking at buildings differently, seeing regulators, seeing government officials have an appreciation to what they often took for granted before. We live in buildings, we work in buildings, our children go to schools in buildings, and part of our success, perhaps the biggest reflection of our success, is to raise the level of understanding that these buildings need to be constructed and maintained at the highest and best levels.
There's no doubt that one of ICC's greatest accomplishments is the creation of the international codes, a coordinated and consistent set of codes for jurisdictions like mine and others around the country and the world to use. That was no easy undertaking. It required a tremendous amount of energy, a tremendous amount of patience, and a tremendous amount of wisdom on the part of many people to make that happen. But when it did, I think everyone realized we had done something big. We had done something that was real for our communities.
When I look at the consolidation, I am overwhelmed with the success. Is it everything we want it to be yet? Probably not. Is it darn good? Absolutely. I am thrilled that we did go through what it took to consolidate and become one.
We are very relevant in the United States and around the world in that our code development process continues to garner very high levels of interest and participation by code officials, by industry, by local governments, consultants, design professionals. And I think that might be the thing that we might consider to be the most successful aspect of what this organization represents to the world.
The success of ICC over the years is really profound. If we go back again to Bobby Fowler and his vision for the organization and how it's grown, and to look at it today and then go back to those initial discussions about where we should be with a single set of codes, I think we achieved the dream that Bobby had.
I think we're getting better because I think the new culture is that we are one. And once that fully gets ingrained in our organization, that's when we'll be better off.
It's amazing how far we have come in these 10 years in consolidating 3 cultures.
I mean, I think that the 10 years is really a big milestone, and you know, I'm happy to be part of it. I'm hoping we're going to really celebrate our successes because organizations oftentimes don't stop and celebrate successes, and we really have had a huge success being 10 years old. So.
Yeah, in the next 10 years, our focus needs to be on CDP access and finding a way to make it work for all of our membership. It's a really exciting opportunity, but we have to get with the modern world and figure out a way to conduct the association's business in a streamlined manner where we can increase participation and get more people involved.
I see ICC and its 20th anniversary as being bigger, as being more all-inclusive, of being stronger, of representing our membership in a new and different ways. Electronics, automation, new types of building materials and technology are all going to be encompassed in the 20th anniversary of ICC.
What I would see as ICC in 2023 for its 20th anniversary would be that it has become the standard leader for services in the code enforcement activity and within the construction industry itself. that it is more of a household name, at least within the construction industry, and that we are providing services that make us a national and international leadership organization.
When I look into the future, say to 2023, I see ICC bigger, stronger, more vibrant than ever. I am completely excited about, I hope I survive myself to surviving to that time when I can look back. I mean, I have been very proud to be part of this effort, and I have every confidence it's going to continue to be as good as it can be.
We have been very fortunate to maintain the high level of interest and participation that we've experienced for these first 10 years. And I have every reason to believe that the next 10 years will even be more successful.
Well, I think you'll continue to see very meaningful change out of the International Code Council over the next 10 years. First, and perhaps most importantly, the completion of our CDP Access project, which is a cloud-based system to provide members and stakeholders greater access to the code development process. Second will be the digitization of the Code Council, both internally and externally. We're working right now on how to improve our internal workflows so we could produce digital products and services for members and stakeholders and customers. And finally, we'll continue to invest in evaluation services, which is the gold standard when it comes to product evaluation. And working with our clients and manufacturers, we'll continue to streamline the process, help them meet very challenging market demands, and assure that ICC evaluation reports are the most trusted source for code officials throughout the world.
I think Bill Taney would be very proud that we have come as far as we have in a 10-year period of time.